Artificial intelligence, or AI, is undergoing exponential growth and transformation at breakneck speed. But how can we ensure it develops in a way that benefits humanity without unforeseen risks? On Wednesday, China released a position paper on strengthening ethical governance of AI at a United Nations meeting in Geneva, making clear to the world for the first time China's vision and principles of the global governance of AI. China says it finds it important to enhance the understanding of all countries on AI ethics and ensure that AI is safe, reliable, and controllable. What exactly is China's vision for ethical AI? And is it different or similar to Western concepts? What is China's position on individual privacy and data security? I'm pleased to be joined live from Beijing by Professor Zeng from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. He's also a member of the National Governance Committee of New Generation AI. He's an important expert behind this position paper. Professor Zeng, thank you very much for joining us. So for the ordinary men and women watching us around the world, why does this paper matter?
Hi, Xin. Morning. So I think when we develop AI as an enabling technology to power the development of the society, you have to make sure that the tools is using in a good way, not doing the bad thing. So actually, for this AI ethical governance document, it talks about what we should do and what we shouldn't do by using AI. So I think that's pretty important that AI should be used for good. So for example, in the Western society, most of the ethical principles are talking actually about what it shouldn't be doing by using AI. You should not use AI to going against humanity. You shouldn't hurt people. Well, actually, you have to talk about what you should do first, so that you're going to the right direction. For example, AI should be used to power up the development of the society to push forward global sustainable development.
Right.
I think that's one of the most essential value we should have, to use disruptive technologies to power this, the development of the society.
Well, this is actually the very first time that China released an international position paper on the ethical governance of AI. And the paper says that China is committed to building a community with a shared future for humankind in the domain of AI, advocating a people-centered approach and the principle of AI for good. So what exactly is China's vision for AI ethics? Is it very different from the Western vision?
Thank you. I think for some of the countries, when they released the ethical principles for their own country, they were talking about different value systems. They're looking for like-minded partners. But for the Chinese trying, we've been always having in mind is live in harmony and yet be different. So you have to realize these differences. So this is why we're not looking for like-minded partners. What we're looking for is the fundamental values that's shared by all the humanity, and then to appreciate the differences to develop AI. So I think the proposal this time is for international consensus. It's not looking for like-minded partners so that you're only going to only one way.
All right. The European Union and the United States have unveiled proposals for AI governance and development in recent years. For instance, former U.S. President Donald Trump said in 2019 that continued American leadership in AI is of paramount importance to maintaining the economic and national security of the United States and to shaping the global evolution of AI in a manner consistent with our, meaning American, values, policies, and priorities, basically America first. Now, according to you and according to the position paper, China actually says AI should be capable of better empowering global sustainable development, enhancing common good for all humanity. Why does China not emphasize China first, which is common sense? Countries put their national interest first.
I think this is very related to the technology itself. I would see AI as a tool which is relevant, it can be compared to electricity. It can be used by everyone. It's very powerful. Well, it is essential to, to power up the global development. So you cannot, like China, you cannot really only have, your own technology used only by yourself. So I think this is the duty for, some countries like China, who's leading AI technology development, one of the leaders, and then, to push forward this technology to power up the global development. I think it's, of course, China will use AI to for economic growth, for better life, well-being in China, but this is not enough. This is not what China only can contribute to the world. There are a lot of things that we can do to help the global south. Use AI to do climate action, biodiversity conservation.
But if America says America first, and China says global good first, and Europe has its values, which it insists must be included in AI governance, can there be a consensus then? Or is it going to be another divisive issue?
I think so, because for China, now we're looking forward, international consensus. When it comes to international consensus, people have to, to find the fundamental values that are shared by each other. Mm-hmm. There are similar tryings at the UN, the UNESCO Global Recommendation on Ethics of AI, which is released by the end of last year. Mm-hmm. So it's a consensus of 193 member states for UNESCO. By that, I think right there, they're talking about the
and
fundamental
China included.
values.
China also signed up to that recommendation.
Yes.
So
China
what are
is
the
contributing to it.
What are the common values that China also agreed to together with the other 192 member states?
I think we put people-centered view right there. So you have to respect the fundamental human values, and also to respect human dignity, provide and protect the privacy, and also to ensure AI is safe and secure.
Okay.
AI should be explainable,
all right.
interpretable.
So, yeah, these are very good words to put on paper, and I hope that every country will stick to that. This time, this Chinese position paper also says governments should safeguard individual privacy and data security of AI products and services, strictly following international regional norms for handling personal information, improve the mechanism for revoking personal data authorization, and oppose illegal collection and utilization of personal information. What has China done in this regard? Is China able to practice what it calls for here?
Thank you. I think the answer is yes. Last year, we released many documents and laws related to data. For example, the Personal Information Protection Law and also the Data Security Law. I think they are very essential tryings from China, contributing not only to a better China, but also to the world. I would like to give one of the examples is that Didi, a equivalent version of Uber in China, was punished because they have crawled many personal information, some kind of in an illegal way, and then they were punished for 8 billion Chinese yuan for that. And
that's
it
over,
was according
that's over
to the
that's over $1 billion, right?
Yeah. It was according to the data security law and the personal information protection law. And you can see that when we have these laws, and then the government and also the general public have the ways, to protect themselves. Although those giant companies from AI really, are acquiring their data every day, but they get their way to protect themselves.
Yeah. China also calls for international cooperation and mutual learning from each other on the regulation of AI in terms of ethics. What is one other best practice that China can share with others, and what are China's current limitations at the same time?
Right. I think in China, for AI governance, we're doing robust or agile governance, which means that we're using different tools to govern AI. For example, ethical principles as soft law, and also standards, specifications, and laws. So in the China practice is that although maybe now we don't really have an AI law, but we have ethical principles and specifications. And when personal data was leaked, and then when the ministries were having governance on these small AI companies, what they're using is not directly the AI law, because now we don't really have it. What they're using is these ethical specifications and talk to these small AI companies and then to regulate them. For example, there's one...
Okay, so yeah, quickly, we're running out of time, but the limitation is the lack of law?
The limitation is now, like Europe, they're having AI Act, and the US is having similar versions. And I would expect that for the future, China should have explored the possibility of having laws for AI.
What about the people's awareness about their personal information? For instance, facial recognition. Their faces are recognized when they go, into public, on the streets or into public events. What is the public awareness, and how is the Chinese government responding to that? Finally,
the voice is that they want their data to be protected. So they don't want massive surveillance, but if you have to use something like facial recognition, and the general public said that their data should be protected, they could understand that it can be used for national defense, so social security, finding and against the criminals, but please protect these personal data, and then they are okay to have the right way to use them, to have them, to get them better for their daily life.
Does the government understand that there is a fine balance between protecting personal privacy and the use for the things you mentioned above, defense, social safety?
Every country has to learn from it. I think everyone is in a learning curve along this line. So same thing happened to China.
All right. Thank you so much. We're running out of time. We have to leave it there. Professor Zeng, a main expert behind China's first international position paper on the governance of ethical AI. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, what is China really like? I spoke to an American professor who has lived in China for over 3 decades to find out.